Hi everybody, Brian Evans with Integrity again. I just wanted to shoot a quick video on the dangers of overpricing your property. I touched on this in a previous video when we were comping out a property, but I wanted to go in a little more detail on this. So let me go ahead and minimize myself and let's go ahead and jump into it. So the first thing that most people think of when overpricing property is this danger of vacancy cost. And I don't want to spend a lot of time on this because most people get this right away. But let's just real quick, when you're thinking about your rental property, you want to think of it as a year-to-year business. Yeah, you're a real estate investor now. If you're renting your property, you're hiring a property manager to manage that, you are a professional real estate investor at this point. So you want to make sure that you're thinking of your rental as a business. And so, for example, I just drew out this a real quick, easy example. If you're trying to rent your property at $2,000 a month, but you're willing to take a 1 month vacancy period in order to get that $2,000 a month, you're actually losing money than if you were to rent it at 1850 and took no vacancy period and were able to just rent it right away. You'd actually lose $500 by doing a $2,000 a month vacancy period. In addition, you have utility costs here. And in addition, this 1850, you're able to find a better tenant. So this tenant down here is worse, is doing more damage to your property, costing you more money than this tenant up here. Now that's typical, that's normal. So not every time, but I'm just more times than not, you're able to find a better tenant in this range than you are at the higher range. So let's go ahead and jump in. That's the first one. So I'm going to jump into the reason number two is that an overpriced listing runs the risk of creating a stale listing. So look here on Zillow, for example, they have 3 tabs up here that renters can click on. One of these tabs out of the 3 is newest. So this is the freshest listings that are hitting the market. So no matter how you're priced, you're going to show up on this list. But if you're priced too high, then nobody's really going to pay attention to your listing, even if it's fresh. But if you're priced right, you're going to create this sense of urgency among tenants that are looking through this newly updated list. Because believe it or not, tenants know the market better than most anybody. When I talk to tenants, they spend 10, 20 hours in a month really researching the market to find the best rental. So anyways, so that is the second piece, is that newest tab, or you want to make sure you're not creating a stale listing. The third thing is that sitting properties are sitting ducks. You don't want your property to be a sitting duck. So what do I mean by that? These properties that are overpriced, they run the risk of sitting there for a really long time. For example, like this one here, it's been here for 74 days. It's at the bottom of the list. It's overpriced. And it runs a risk of somebody breaking in, stealing the copper, stealing appliances, damaging the property, or vandalizing. Now, don't worry, it doesn't happen a lot, even on these stale listing properties, but it does happen, and you need to take that in account when you're running analyzing the risk of pricing out your property. So let me go ahead and jump into the fourth reason here. The fourth reason you don't want to be overpriced is that as the best tenants are starting at this low to high range and they're working their way down this list. And so this is a really small list, but I'm trying to keep it for example purposes. So these best tenants are selecting, the houses at the top of this list, and as they work their way down, the best tenants are setting up showings up here, and they're probably not even getting to the bottom of this list. However, tenants that don't qualify for these properties are still calling on these higher priced properties. And so I see this happen a lot with landlords. They'll come to me and they'll have a problem tenant. And when I see what they're trying to charge them rent, I immediately know what the problem is, because the only people that were contacting them were people that didn't qualify for the properties up here. They're calling on here. And I know this for a fact. When I have an overpriced listing, I immediately know it, because the only people that are calling me are people that have judgments, the people that have bankruptcies, the people that don't have enough money to qualify for the rent, and so on. And so, and when there's no good tenants contacting me, I know I'm overpriced. So that is the fourth reason I really want to point out. It's not as obvious to a lot of people, and that's where a kind of a pitfall that a lot of landlords fall into, that they overprice their property, and then the only people they see coming in their door are those tenants that don't qualify for anything else, and then they end up renting to them, and then those people end up not paying them the rent on time or at all, and then damage the property, and then they have to evict them, and in the end, the landlord actually loses with this higher rent price than these landlords up here that are pricing aggressively and getting the best tenant. These guys are usually winning, and the guys at the bottom that are renting too high are losing because they're not getting the best tenants that are not taking care of the property. So really the fifth reason that you don't want to overprice is probably obvious at this point, but it's just it frustrates everybody involved. So you as the owner are getting frustrated because your house isn't getting rented. The property manager is getting frustrated because all they're talking to is unqualified tenants, and they're spending all their time showing the property to people that don't qualify. And everybody's getting frustrated. Everybody's getting really kind of burnt out on the process. And you don't want to do that to yourself. You want to make sure that you're pricing right, so you're looking at the best tenants right out of the gate, reducing your vacancy period, and not creating that stale listing. So, anyways, that's it in a nutshell. I just wanted to go over that, the dangers of overpricing, and hopefully that made sense. If you have any questions, certainly call me. Again, Brian Evans with Integrity Realty and Management. My number is 720-656-5080. Thank you.